Hello, everybody. Once again, I love this weekly discussions and talk about just daily life and health in general. My name is Dr. Tran. I'm a chiropractor. I specialize in acupunctures, physical rehab, a little bit of nutrition, and I love to do martial art. I used to do martial art. But over the years, I've been practicing for 20 years, and I just love to be able to give back to the community. And a lot of the thing I'm talking about today, I'm talking in my podcast, are not new. It's always there, but sometimes people can forget about it because lives are so busy, especially in this country. And slowly, health is no longer become our number one priority. So I hope my podcast or my discussion or my talk with my friends and my colleague help you guys like a quick reminder that health is everything we actually have and own. Without health, nothing matter. Like we always say, health is wealth. So don't just focus on your material wealth, but focus on your uh, health and wealth. So that's how we're gonna start today's conversation. It's funny because almost like everybody have a saving account. Like even my kid, like I open a saving account for them. And then one day my patient come in and just like this morning, I have a patient come in and he's a construction worker and he's holding a PVP pipe to walk at a cane because his back was killing him. And he come in and say, "Hey, Dr. Tran, you've been 3 years." I was like, "That's why you're here." And he looked at me like, "What?" And I was like, "Think about it. If you've been taking care of your body, if you have a car or your truck out there, if you have not do any maintenance of the truck for 3 years, what happened you think to the truck?" And that's exactly what happened to him. And he's like, "Oh, yeah." Because we have checking account that we spend and we use every day. Saving is only for emergency, right? Let's say for vacation, for whatever. What about our health? The thing about health we don't realize is we talk about preventative. Now, what is preventative? Preventative is meaning you don't want to get sick, right? So meaning you have to keep up your health. Now, how many of us are keeping up our health? If you go to the gym, 3 times, 4 times a week, you keep up your physical fitness. But is it really that all it takes? It's a lot more complex than that, right? Keep up our saving for our health is like, okay, when you don't need it, it's okay. But when you need it, it had to be there. But that had to be extra. Most of the thing we're doing for our health, like you go to the gym, you do this and that. You keep your fitness, but do you spend a lot more than you make? That is not saving. How many of them think about we're taking supplements so that we have extra, so we put it away? I mean, think about our diet, think about our nutrient. We might not even have enough to keep up our daily uses. And the other misconception is how much vitamin, how much nutrient is enough. Daily requirement. Well, daily requirement only work if you only use that much every day. Do you guys use the same every day? No. Someday we use more, someday we use that. Do you eat the same every day? Yes, you eat the same every day. And then the day that we don't do much, let's say, okay, weekend we might save a little bit. But if your food doesn't have the good purity of the vitamin that you need, the quality is not there, do you think you have saving? Right? Just like working, it's not how many hours you work, it's how much you get paid per hour, right? So quality over quantity. Health is the same thing. Think about COVID. When COVID hit, everybody get panic because now they start worrying about underlying diseases. Well, what about just average without COVID? When you get a cold, your body needs extra energy, extra resources, but you can't eat. Your taste buds not good. You don't feel like eating, but your body needs to fight. So where do you get that? That's where the saving coming in. Right? Just like we train soldiers. We train them for years and we might use them for a short time. But make sure when we use them, they are trained and they're there for you. That's physical fitness, same thing. You want to make sure you keep exercise, you keep your body up to bit. So let's say if you miss a step, you can catch yourself. Now, same thing with resources in your body. Vitamins, mineral. Your bone is where you save a lot of these stuff. Some of your organ. But do we put away extra saving? We might eat too much, let's say, preservative foods, sugar, carbohydrate, things that our body really doesn't need. But we don't have enough vitamins, omega-3 for that matter. Why? Because we work a lot more. And then our priority is not there for our health. Everybody's worried about work, work, work. So when I say saving for health saving, think about it. Do you actually put away in terms of health, nutrient for the rainy day? Because I have, for example, you told me the other day, how come this year I get sick quite often, more than last year? Well, number one, we talk about it. You are more stressed out this year. You have a lot more responsibility, so your expense is higher. Just think about it. If you just move from apartment to a big house, your rent used to be $1,400. Now it's like $3,000. You make the same amount. What happened? You're gonna have trouble if you don't increase your salary or you make more money. That is self-stress, right? Same with our body. As you get older, your body probably needs more expenses. Why? Because we have little damages that we should fix years ago we would never think about. So now the same amount of energy that used to be able to get you through the day, now it's not enough. We're inflations, right? $100 now is not the same $100 20 years ago. One vitamin now is not the same one vitamin 20 years ago. Because over the years, we have a lot of damage to our body, our nervous systems, our spine, our joint. So the circulation is just not the same. How long it takes nutrient get from A to B is not the same. And then the more we sit, the slower our circulation is, the harder for the body to generate energy. And also over the year, we have a lot of micro trauma, small damage here and there. So it takes a lot more consumption of energy to run. But we never think about, oh, my body is tired because they need more energy, they need more supply. But we blame on aging. I'm older, I'm supposed to be slower. Maybe, maybe not. If you do the best you can, clean your body, take care of yourself, eat well, and actually put time outside, not only for physical activity, but mental. Stress is a big, big issue. Your brain sucks up 20-25% of your energy at any time. So when you're using your brain, thinking a lot about anything, doesn't matter if it's important or not, they suck away your battery, suck away your energy, your power. So just when you think about health, do you feel the same as you were 10 years ago? If you're not, maybe you should work on how do I get myself better. If you can feel the same as you 10 years ago, now you have maybe extra. Let's say if you're 40, you feel like you're 30, that means you have 10 years of saving there, right? But if you're 40, you feel like you're 60, maybe you don't have any saving. Maybe you really need to start working on those savings. So that's what I mean by saving. And it's harder to say than done because, we so wrapped up in work. And then, but small change make a big difference, right? We don't age over, like a couple of days, a couple of weeks. It takes a while for our body to breaking down. So to get back to it, same thing. Just think about what activity that put your body to and your mind through the most stress every day, and see how you can just change 1%, 2%. Small change make a big difference. Otherwise, everybody's busy. So if you want big change, you can't. But you have to think about it. It has to be number one priority. So that's what I mean by saving. So stress is a very common. You hear that all the time, but nobody actually sit down and address the stress. So here's the thing. Let's say if you want to buy a house, right, and you want to put your budget in order, right? So you look at how much money you make, how much you spend, and how much you can put away. Right? Well, same thing with stress. The existing stress that you have to identify what they are, right? Write them down. You might not have as much stress as you think you do. Just we talk about how you turn on too many apps and your phone overheat. Same thing in your mind. Just like this, for example, I come home, I pick up a mail, and walking from my mailbox to my house, I open it, I look at it, and there's my bill, Okay, but I don't have time to pay the bill right there because I'm not in my computer. So I go home, I put my bill away, but in my mind, that bill was still running around my back of my head. So instead of doing that, I should have just take my mail, put it in the house, just leave it there. When I have time to deal with that, I sit down, I turn on my laptop, on my bank account, whatever, open that mail and deal with it and finish it. You see how we can take away one little stress? But that happens to many things. We are not good at multitasking. We just have to do one thing and then halfway through we set our mind and do another thing. But that's the problem. You start so many things, you couldn't finish them. So in the back of your mind, it's always like running. That's why sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, so remember something and say, oh my God, actually, you see. So just slow down, one task at a time. We're actually not good at multitasking, and you don't have to multitask. So when you're not ready to pick up a project, please do not pick up a project. I think that's why social media is so dangerous and so stressed out for us. When you pick up something that had nothing to do with you, right, or something, but when you read through it, it goes through your mind. It's stuck in the back here, and sometimes it's occupy your memory, and that's why you keep forgetting things, because you run out of space in the back of your mind. You see things, but you're not recording it, and then you have a flashback of it, and that's why it creates even more stress out. So first thing I think is identify your stress, and then put them in category. I'm not a psychologist, right? But all this is I learned over the years from talking to thousands of patients, and they share me their story, and then I apply to myself. So write it down, physically, write it down. What do you think your stress are? And then which one of those can you handle? Which one can be changed? Because a lot of the worry we have can be changed. So that's how you handle the existing and identify your stress. Now, number one. Number two, do you have time for yourself? Even a phone, you have to shut them down, right? To let them cool down. When do you shut down your mind? And I'm not talking about sleeping at night. I'm talking about throughout the day. Small rest, small break. Sometimes we work so worried with working, and then we have family. We dedicate our mind to everything that is more important than ourselves. Our body's a machine. Imagine if you have a car that's running all day, 12-hour a day. That car is not going to last 200,000 miles. Your mind runs a lot more often than you realize. So you have time to actually set your mind, meaning, do something you like to do. Like say read a book, have a cup of coffee. So take a small chunk out of time, maybe 30 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week, just for yourself. Without family, friend, no one, just for you. Just to recharge your brain. Just relax, like me, like say enjoy a cup of coffee. And then the other thing I think that affects a lot is we all worry about tomorrow, future. I had a patient earlier, she was laying down on the table doing acupuncture, and I come out and I was like, so are you thinking about what you do next? And she said, oh my God, how are you doing that? I said, everybody does. You know exactly what you can do next. Why you keep thinking about it? You see, because when you're thinking about it, worry about it, you start to have concern, stress. And when you stress out, your cortisol level is produced. And you're not burning fat, you burn muscle, and then so a lot of time we get into a bad habit of stress ourselves more than we actually need to. So number one, identify your stress. Number two, find time for yourself to relax. And then number three, physical activity. We need physical activity because the more fit you are, the less physical stress your body has, the more energy you have to mental stress. We have one battery, just like the phone. Whether you take picture, whether you record video, whether you play game, it's all the same. So whether you have an ache shoulder, a bad knee, a bad hip, all those pain, all those ache and joint drain you out. Fix those. And when you have a damaged joint, when you have a bad joint, go to the gym, working out is not going to fix that. Just like if you have a car that has really poor alignment and you take on the racetrack and you speed really fast, you think, what happened to that car? Same with our body. You have a lot of ache and pain or you have some stiffness, go to the gym, working out harder. It's not the solution. If you have something that affects you physically, address it. And then, same thing with medical conditions. Are you in your optimal health? What can I do to make myself optimal? Now, and then the other thing is also the quality of the battery, but also how often you try the battery, right? Your diet, your food. Do you eat the best food you can possibly can? Eat the cleanest food you can. Just like, gas. Premium gas are expensive, but they clean. See, all the race car take premium gas. They burn quickly. Or are you taking your premium gas? Are you put in good stuff in your mouth? Do you have enough nutrients? So those three things, you just start with those. And then the other thing is also work. So you identify your stress mentally. What about physically? You have bad posture? Do you sit all day long at work? Do you stand all day long at work? Are you lifting heavy every day at work? Identify the work, because that's actually most people spend most of the time on. Now, how can I make work easier for my body? That's the other thing that we really have to identify. Because it's all about remove the stress in the body, right? And stress is part of it. Physical stress, chemical stress, emotional stress. All those three stress have to be addressed. Water. Now, do you drink enough water? Yeah, everybody talk about drinking enough water. Now, is your water have the thing that you need? Does it have enough mineral? Is it clean? Because I think that's one thing that we forgot a lot is about drinking water, but what about the quality of the water? It's a big difference. If your water have a good mineral, then your muscles love you. If your water have nothing but chlorine and fluorides and ton of like chemical stuff, maybe it's not a good idea to drink a ton of them. So that's another story. But those are the three things that I think everybody can change: is identify your stress, identify your physical stress, any existing problem in your body, and then what do you do for fun? Take I say earlier about taking a little time out of your day and enjoy yourself, but even pick up something fun physically. A lot of people play pickleball right now, walking. And the funny thing was, walking is only fun if you make it fun. Or and people say, I don't have time. Well, yes you do. Park a little far out. Challenge yourself. If you work in the building, well, take a stair. Maybe take 2 flight stairs today. Take 3, 4, 5. Change it up a little bit. Make your life more exciting, right? Because the problem is after if you do routinely every day the same, one day you realize, oh my God, it's so boring. It's the same thing. I'm a machine. Repeat everything day in and day out. And we are a machine. But how you operate that machine is entirely up to you. But machine needs constantly care and lubrication. So that's what I think. That's the way I address my stress. But also there's completely another story with if you have family, you have children, that's another story. But like I said, identify it and don't carry everything on your shoulder. Talk to somebody, share your story. That's what friends are for, right? And even your kid. Sometimes I think I have 4 children, and they might know a lot more than you realize. And sometimes we make assumption that they don't understand, but maybe they do. Share with them what you're worried, and you feel better. You can't only be creative when you're not thinking about anything. Because if you're already thinking about something, like what to do, and then you're already occupied, you already have a goal, you already set your mind something. Just like discover. If you don't wonder, how do you discover? And your mind wander. Like I say, most people, most people want, I wander, but I'm not lost, So same thing, if your mind don't wander, then how you discover new thing. But the same thing is, let your mind wander is you have to actually have the energy for the mind to wander. Because sometimes you're like that, you fatigue, you're tired, you don't have energy. And then the other thing I want to talk about stress real quick is sleeping. I think people don't realize sleeping is not just close your eye and pass out. When you sleep, you have to have a certain amount of energy for your body to do all the cleaning, all the damage, repair, all the restoration of the damage that you used that day. Just like I compare to a restaurant, right? After they close, they have to clean up and get ready for tomorrow, right? But if the worker or the staff was too tired, they just close the door and go home, you're not going to have fresh food the next day. Same thing with our body. When you sleep at night, your body shut down. but your brain is still working to control. Your brain shut down, but your body is still working internally to clean up all the junk and repair the damage. But if you don't have any energy left, then how are your body clean? And that's why sometimes you couldn't sleep because you're too tired. You're restless, you're too tired. You couldn't fall asleep, but you just tort and turn. And then you pass out. Just same thing with taking sleeping pills. Sometimes you knock yourself out, but you knock everything else too. So you wake in the morning, you feel like crap. So that's why you have a certain amount of backup saving, not only for, rainy day, but also for daily maintenance of your body. Just like you have a backup for your phone at night, and then have no battery, and how are you going to back up? How are you going to update? So it's just fascinating the more you think about how similar we are to machine. Everything needs energy, right? But we just use it. It's like our body is like a rechargeable battery. You don't want to maximize to like 100% all the time because it's burn out, but you don't want to completely drain them out all the time either. Just like a car, right? 80% is good, 20% that's good. It's the same thing. If we can keep our body somehow, you max it to 80%, and then you only use up to 20% left, and that's it. You'll be safe. But if we constantly completely empty it, the battery break way out faster. See, sleeping is resting, but when you get lazy, you don't do anything. It's also sleeping. So there's two things, because it's all mentally. Like your body says, nothing to do, right? You just lay there. So like, why do I wake up? Because I don't want to turn on it because there's nothing for me to do. But then sometimes, but that's why it's balance. It's really hard to. Sometimes that's where discipline go in, right? You have to wake up at the same time every day. But if you don't go to bed at the same time every day, it's hard to wake at the same time every day because slowly you start using up your backup. And then when you run out, then you cannot get up because you're too tired. But for you, that's why traveling, with the jet lag is hard because you mess up your biological clock. But you can't be healthy if you don't have discipline. Discipline in eating, discipline in not eating, discipline in do something and not do something. Including, pick up the phone and use social. So that's a discipline. And same thing with physical rehab, right? You have to be there. You have to do this exercise for this many times and this often. It takes discipline. Working, successful people are very disciplined, right? Discipline, not to think about what I have to do next. But all that, first thing is awareness. If we are aware of what is important, we're aware that something needs to change, then we start focusing on it. And that's why I say most of the things we talk about are not new. It's not difficult. It's just no one ever think about it just because it's not important. Because we live in a country where we only think about sick care. If it don't break, don't fix it. How do you know it's not breaking if you don't use it? If you have a phone and you never turn it on, how do you know it's not working? So if you have a shoulder that had bad injury here, but you only go here, you never go back there, how do you know it's hurting? And that's why I think where the physical activity is important is when you start running around, jogging, running, play some sport, then you realize how fit you really are. And then when you find out something's not work well, don't give up on the activity. Fix the body so you can actually go back and test yourself, see if you're actually capable of doing those things. And that will tell you, how well your physical body is. And does it matching with your biological age? Sometimes a lot of people now age a lot faster than their actually biological age. Because just, for example, sitting like this, the pressure in your spine increased 3 times or 4 times. So if you sit and use computer for 10 years, it's actually 30, 40 years of wear and tear in your spine. So you might look like a 30-year-old, but your spine might be 80. That's why it's break, and that's why it starts hurting. But it doesn't hurt for the last 5 years. Why? Because you get used to it. When you get used to something, right? like a bad habit or a bad posture, it make it easier for you to tolerate, but it doesn't make it easier for the body. The damage is actually the same or even worse, because when you're not aware of you do something bad, you just keep doing it. So cheers. Well, let's talk about physical injury. Okay, so for example, one of my patients, he had a surgery, shoulder surgery. He fell off the ladder, injured his shoulder, but that was only the beginning. For a year, he was doing heavy lifting. So the 2-hour surgery turned out to be 5-hour surgery. However, after I think 6 weeks of on a what do you call that? A cash on a sling and cash and hold it like that. He came in and we started doing rehab. So beside the physical rehab that he do 5 times a week, 5 days a week, even his orthopedic said it was too much, but I was like, I disagree with him. So he came in 5 times a week. But also in the meantime, I gave him different kind of supplements for his recovery. So one of the things is when he come and do exercise, right? When you have any damage, first thing happens is atrophy, muscle atrophy. You don't use it, you lose it. Number 2, most of the joint, when you're not moving, the joint dried up. So the first month is very difficult. Every day he's in pain. Because you can't help it, because let's say if his shoulders freeze up like that, when you open like that, it's okay. But he go a little further, it hurt. But that's the only way he get better. So every day he go a little further. So yesterday here was hurt, now here is painful, but it's more than yesterday. And the consistency of it. So nutrient, resting. So he actually have not worked for almost 5-6 months now. Because you can't just do rehab and go back to work like that. So for surgery, for big surgery, shoulder surgery, knee surgery, the more time, the sooner you start doing rehab. And then we also incorporate acupuncture and cupping in every single visit. Why? Because after surgery, there's a ton of swelling. The swelling is what helping, but also slowing down the healing, because it's constricting on the blood flows and all that. So the acupuncture helps reduce that. And then we have natural anti-inflammatory, meaning like pineapple extract. So when we talk anti-inflammatory, I'm not talking about drug, because some of the drug actually does not reduce inflammation, or they do not physically help with the healing process. They might reduce swelling, but they might not allow the body to bring in more nutrient. And then I give him joint support, muscle support, and then eat, healthy food. Just like think about your body repair something, just like you renovate your kitchen. You need to have a ton of material, new cabinet, new dishwashers, and then paints and all that. Same thing with our body. So resting is important, sleep is just important, but physical rehab important. What can you do? Some people use lasers, other things, but there's anything that promote healing by dilate your blood vessel, something like that. Modality is a big thing, but movement, constantly movement, every day, constantly movement because without movement, you cannot get the circulation to get the blood go in and out. And then also when you move, the sooner you move, after the doctors say it's safe to do so, there's less atrophy you had to work with. So the faster you recover. So that's surgery recovery. Acupunctures, cuppings, laser treatments, ultrasounds, modality, but physical activity. Simple stuff. And besides just, let's say, you go to see a physical therapist for an hour a day, right? At home, there's this thing that you can do. And also you have to identify the ability of which joint should be moved and which joint should not. So for example, for my patient that had shoulder surgery, his elbow was fine. But if his doctor never talked about, you should move your elbow, so he's holding like that. So it's not only the shoulder's bad, the elbow also bad because you're not moving it. So I told him as soon as you can, just move your elbow, move your wrist, move your finger. So any joint that is not related directly to the injury, you should think about this too. And then after recovery, during the process of recovering, getting better, think about what else affected when that shoulder hurt. Because when he was hurting this right shoulder, he used his left shoulder way so much. So that helps left shoulder needs some help. I have quite a few patients that had, one side injury, and they focus so much on one side, and they forgot about the other side, and later on the other side is hurting, just because they overuse. So yeah, sleeping, resting, good nutrition, and then how can I promote the healing to go faster, including a lot of physical activity that are supervised. Yeah, you need to have somebody actually guide you to what is safe to do and what's not safe to do. So this is from my personal experience. Um, over the year, I realized that every year I had one day get really sick one day. So the way I do it is, there's a lot of alternative, but ginger, garlic, ginger help immune system. Honey. So what I usually do is I always have at least a pound of organic ginger in my house. So let's say when I had a cold, when I had sickness, first thing I do is like grind them make into like thick, almost like juice, and then I mix with honey and hot water and drink some of the inside, and then I can make the ginger into a pulp and put it into a clot and mix with some hard liquor and heat it up, and then work throughout different part of my body, my chest, my shoulder. So there's a lot of way that you can do, and most of them are, what do you call that? Like alternative treatments. But drinking orange juice, if you cannot eat, fresh squeezed orange juice help, because when you're sick, you don't feel like eating, right? But you need some energy. So drinking additional electrolyte, drinking fluid is very important. Sleeping, resting. But what I also do is I try to get on a treadmill to walk. And sometimes I have to drag myself on it, like do, for 5 minutes and say, okay, let me try to do a mile. And I was like, okay, if I'm here after, and then you actually, and here's the thing, don't quote me on this, but let's say, make sure you don't have dizziness. It makes it safe for you to get on the treadmill, because usually when I had a cold, I had like a flu-like symptom, but my head, I can actually still get on the treadmill and walk. So it is safe for you to get on a treadmill and walk, but not outside, inside, because you don't want to, like, you get sick, you don't want to go out to the wind or the cold or the rain. It's making you worse, right? But I feel like after I walk for a mile or two, my circulation increasing, so my recovery is much faster. But same thing, when you get sick, your body needs to back up. So eat whatever you can, like soup, anything like that. And also, when you get sick like that and you realize how strong your immune system is or how weak they are, then when you recover, you have to start to get a ton of nutrient supplements. So sometimes you need to take more zinc, sometimes you need to take the different supplement companies have different concoctions, but usually vitamin C, vitamin D. Vitamin D is extremely important. Vitamin C, you can eat quite a lot of stuff with vitamin C. Zinc, but for me, ginger is a big thing. So if you get sick so often, then you need to take something. Like for a biotic research company that I work with, they have the immune support, right? So they have some herb and some other stuff. So you need to take that for a while. The other thing also, you might have to look into your digestive system. If you have gut issues, you also have weak immune system, right? So if you constantly getting sick, maybe your gut are not healthy, because they say your gut is your second brain. So you might have to look into, okay, do I have constipation? Do I have diarrhea? My stomach get upset easily? Do I have gassy? Do I have bloating? But the difficult thing with gut is it takes months, years to rebuild the gut. Because sometimes that happens from stress. Stress is the number one killer, the gut. So if you get sick more often, we have to look into gut health. And they have probiotics, prebiotics. Also, you have to see if you have leaking gut. And then same thing, they have some minerals, some supplements to help you with that. But it had to be consistent. And one of the most common use to help your gut or your stomach is turmeric. So we usually mix turmeric powdered turmeric with uh, good quality honey, and you eat them daily. Yeah, so those are some of the things you're looking at. Why do I get sick so often? Do I expose myself because I meet more people that get sick, or I have so much stress that my body just can't keep up with it? Yeah, so same thing. Identify your stress, but recovery from cold and stuff like that is show you how strong your body is. And then it's okay to get sick, but how fast you get over from sickness. And knock on wood, over the years, like I get sick half a day, the next day I'm okay. So that's what you should looking at. And also, it's not because you get older you get sick more often. Okay, so do not blame on aging. You're sick because your body's weak. That's it. Same thing with a machine or a car. It's just like imagine how your phone keep crashing all the time, right? Well, number one, maybe the memory is just too overload. The battery's not strong enough, or the phone too old for the update stuff. Our body's the same thing. If you use them so much and you don't take care of them, they age. Many years ago, same thing. When I first working as a chiropractor, I worked 12 days, 5-6 days a week. And then one day I look at my schedule and I was like, oh my God, I'm a doctor and I work like this. So I have no life, right? And then I was just looking through different quotes, and I found this one said, don't get busy to make a living that you forget to make a life. And I'm thinking, I think most of us are like that. You go to school, you work so hard to get a job, and then, but when you work at a job, you work forever, right? And then now, and as I get older, I realize most of my patients, the only thing that they worry about is work, work, work. Even they go on vacation, right? They never enjoy the vacation. They came back and say, oh my God, I'm so stressed because I have to make up for all that thing. So sometimes when they were on vacation, they're thinking about work already because they have to make up for it. So when you work so hard to earn a living, right? Are you living your life? Work is important, but you can't work for like 11 and a half months so that we have 2 weeks of vacation. And in that 2 weeks, do you actually live in that 2 weeks at having fun? Or you do it because you just like, okay, it's a routine. Okay, it's time for vacation, take the kid to. Especially when you have kids, you realize that, when you take a kid on vacation, you come back, you feel like you need another vacation for yourself. Well, you do. And you need to pick yourself up and take another vacation for yourself. A true vacation is when you go, you have fun, you enjoy, you come back, you feel, oh my God, it's great. My body feels great. If you came back from vacation, you're like, oh man, I'm so tired and so fatigued. Something's wrong there, right? So work is important, but it's not everything. So work to earn a living, but don't forget to live. And when I say living, like you don't have to be on vacation to live, just like here, sitting here, have a cup of coffee with you, have a cup of beer with a friend. Small thing like that, but do live. And then, if you enjoy something, everybody have something they like, let's say shoes, pair, you earn the money, right? Whatever you spend on it, whether it's important or not important, it's you. It's for yourself. You earn those money. How you spend is entirely up to you. So don't stress yourself out because you buy an expensive pair of shoes, expensive purse, expensive watch. You like it, you buy it, you earn it, right? The whole point of living a dream is you work so you're making the money to buy what you love to buy. So if somebody say, oh, why you spend so much money on that piece of junk? Well, to them it's your piece of junk, but if you like it, you. However you spend your money, it's up to you. As long as it doesn't hurt other people, then enjoy it. If you like the watch, buy the watch. At least you can afford it. If you like to travel somewhere, go. So I think that's what it means to live. Vacation time, right? But I mean, not everybody like that, because I know somebody who is so funny. I was like, what would you do if you win $1 million right now? And he's like, invest. And I was like, okay. And so what else will you do with that money? Buy a property? I said, okay, never mind, forget it. So you love investment. That's fine, it's you like it. So everybody have different thing that you like to do that you enjoy. What do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? That give you a purpose. You should keep that up because you have to keep that fire running. Because it's dangerous when that fire turn off. Then you're like one day you're like, what? Why do it all this for? What I work so hard for? After 50, 60, you're like, I work all this year, and what do I have? What did I ever do for myself? You see, it's dangerous. So I think that's also come to midlife crisis. You work so hard, you take a family, your children, everything, and then you look back and like 50 years pass and you haven't done anything for yourself. You start buying crazy stuff. But okay, if that make you happy, so be it. So that's why I think that quote I had in my office just remind myself. It's so easy to forget. So I've been doing a lot of talking. A lot of these things, I think that is helpful for you guys, and then my friends help me. But I can only do so much on my own. Give me some hint. Give me some comment. I don't know what you guys need help with, and maybe it's nothing important. But if you think of anything that I can help, I can improve myself, or we can guide you to help, better and healthier in nutrition, in physical activity, in anything, give us some comment because I want to make this for you guys. So if you guys don't use it, it's useless. And give us some help by give us some comment below. Ask me anything that you think that related. If I know, I'll try to answer it. If I'm not, I'll ask somebody. And I think that's how we learn, right? So I want to learn more from you guys. What do you like to hear? Because I know, like, I don't want to hear podcast that get boring and all that. But I watch a lot of YouTube. I learned so much from them. I want to give it back to the YouTube community because I did some cupping YouTube and people loved it. But sometimes what I think is important may not be the same thing as what you guys think is important. So please help us out. Just give us some comments, questions, even suggestions, anything. And I'm more than happy to interact and make it worthwhile for your time. Listen to me and watch me talking. All right, so hopefully I'll hear some feedback from you guys soon, and we'll make more video coming up for you guys. All right, take care.